I am so excited for today. It's already a filled day. My spirit is alive. I feel already energized. It's crazy just when you show up with expectation what God does. And so maybe you're here and you're searching for something that's bigger than you. Maybe you're here and you don't even know why you're here. Maybe a friend invited you and some reason you said yes. They told you it was brunch and it ended up being church. I'm sorry they lied to you. Brunch is next. It'll be good, but it will not be as good as the Love God House for you, I promise. But I want to talk to you for a few moments today about ownership. I want to talk to you about the shifts that you can make in your life today, that you can take complete ownership over your future, and it begins with one choice after the next choice after the next choice. See, I was having a conversation on Wednesday with a friend of mine who's become a new friend. And his name's Edward, and he's incredible. He is a CEO of a company called Kersey that deals with human dynamics and helping you understand yourself to the fullest and could become the person that you were created to be. And I was just talking with him about dreams that I have, and we're just talking about life. And you ever been around somebody that just their faith inspires you? Have you ever been around somebody that just their level of intention brings more intention to you? And that's been Edward in even the short time that we've become friends. And he was telling me recently about a conversation that he had with his daughter. And it was really beautiful because she had a dream job that she wanted. And he was like, okay, let's do this. Let's do everything we can to help you get this dream job. And she's like, I don't think it's possible. Like, I don't have all the qualifications. Like, I don't know if I'm the person they're looking for, and just a lot of insecurity and fear. And he said, we got this. Don't worry. Let's just dive in. And so he helps her with her resume, and he helps her prep her interviews. And she's like, there's no way I could get this job. And he said, look, we're just going to do everything humanly possible to handle your part, and then we're going to leave the other part up to God. And he said, have you done all that you can? Have you handled your part? And she said, yes. Then now you can have full freedom knowing that whatever happens next is up to God, no longer it's up to you. And it was this shift that happened in her understanding of how to relate to God that I think sometimes we get focused on the wrong part instead of the most important part, and that's my part. And in 2 Samuel chapter 23, in verses 8 through 12, I want you to read this epic passage with me today. Starting in verse 8, it says this: these are the names of David's mighty warriors. Josheb-Basshebeth, a Talmachite, was chief of the three. He raised his spear against 800 men whom he killed in one encounter. Next to him was Eleazar, son of Dodai the Ahohite, and as one of the three mighty warriors, he was with David when they taunted the Philistines, gathered at Pas-Dammim for battle. Then the Israelites retreated, but Eleazar stood his ground and struck down the Philistines till his hand grew tired and froze to the sword. The Lord brought about a great victory that day. The troops returned to Eleazar, but only to strip the dead. And next to him was Shema, son of Agi the Hararite. And when the Philistines banded together at a place where there was a field full of lentils, Israel's troops fled from them. But Shema took his stand in the middle of the field. He defended it and struck the Philistines down. And the Lord brought about a great victory. See, yes. Well, God said it. Siri said it. You better put victory in your contacts, right? Because that's in your future. Victory. That was amazing. We could pray. We're done. We got all we needed. See, a lot of times I think we want the victory, but are we willing to do the work that gets there? And I love this passage here because it's this iconic moment, right? This is 300 before there was 300. It's This is Sparta, right? Can you see Gerard Butler's abs? Can you picture them? Right? This is this epic tale of the legend of David's 3 mighty warriors. And there's some powerful insights that I feel like we can unpack when we're looking at these 3 men who had markers and moments that forever changed not just the course of their life, but the course of an entire nation. Because they understood their part. See, verse 8, it says, these are the names of David's mighty warriors. Josheb, Bashebeth, Takmanakite, I can't say that. A Wakandan, we'll just go with that, all right? Was chief of the 3. He raised his spear against 800 men whom he killed in one encounter. See, I want to pause here with this guy, because there's a few different things that I notice in these 3 individuals that I think we can all learn from. See, here it tells us first that he was chief of the 3. So everybody say the chief. The thing about the chief is this is the one who goes first. Okay, in our lives, right, there's going to be things that God invites you into. There's going to be dreams that you have. There's going to be desires that you long for. There's going to be moments and opportunities that you have to step into that no one has stepped into before. Now, and sometimes we can focus on the big battle, the 800 men that we need to defeat. But here's the reality, right? Before you can defeat 800 men in battle, you have to be able to defeat the battle inside for your heart, the battle for your character, the battle for your disciplines. And here's what I know, that this guy would not have had the skills necessary to defeat 800 if he first didn't learn the skills necessary to defeat the one. And he was determined to become who he needed to be the chief, to be the one who goes first. All right, what are the areas of your life that have become patterns that you've gotten used to, that it just need one moment where you break the chain? I met a guy after the 10 a.m. earlier today. It was his first time, and he came and he told me his name, and I told him my name, and he was just shaking. He said, "Thank you so much for today." And he said, I came because my soul knew that I needed something fresh. My soul knew that I needed something different. And he begins to share how he's been struggling as an addict, and he hasn't been able to overcome. And he said, today, for the first time, I feel like I have a vision for what my future can look like. That I can create a new future. I can be the one who goes first. You ever been mad at someone or had conflict with someone? Like husbands, that's you. Raise your hand. Right? Yeah. You ever just been in conflict and you didn't want to resolve it because the other person was more wrong than you and you wanted them to resolve it? Lyndon, you know what I'm talking about, right? Vanessa, you definitely don't know what we're talking about, right? Yeah. Right, but have you ever just been in a relationship with someone that you were off? There was conflict, there was tension, and someone had to have the humility and the courage to let their pride down and engage it, right? See, a few weeks ago, that was me. Me and Beck, we were just not on the same page. We were in a what they call a tiff, right? And I was mad because she was wrong. And she didn't know she was wrong, but I knew she was wrong. I was just waiting for her to come and apologize, waiting for her to come and make things right. And then one day turned to 2. And then 2 days turned to 3. And it's like, is she not going to come and apologize? You know? Hey, have you ever been so mad at somebody you subtly sabotage their life and they don't even know it? I was like, I'm not going to fill up your gas tank. I feel about that. I'm going to make your eggs over hard instead of over medium. Nobody else, just me? Yeah? Okay, she raised her hand, not too high, right? Yeah. See, that was me. I was waiting for her to come and fix things. I was waiting for her to go first. You know who waits for the other person to go first? A coward. You know who waits for the other person to come first? The prideful one. You know who waits for the person to know what you need before they say it? The ridiculous one. See, the chief, the leader, the servant is the one who always goes first. That it doesn't matter if it was your fault, it is your responsibility to make things right. That's what the chief does. That's the pioneer, the one that takes new ground. My dad was in the military for almost 30 years. And that's huge because he was the first person in his family, 8 siblings, to leave the little corner of Baltimore, Maryland. He was the first person to get out, and at 18 he went and he enlisted in the military. But he almost didn't make it to 30 years because he had gotten his 3rd DUI in a matter of a couple years, and they told him, you're about to get kicked out of the military. He said, you've got to change something. There's something broken in here. At the same time, my mom was pregnant with me, about 7 months pregnant, and he had to make a choice. Do I go to rehab and get my life straight? Do I miss the birth of my son so that I can be there for the rest of his life? And he went to rehab, and 40 years ago was the last time he touched a sip of alcohol. And it's beautiful. It's incredible. But that wasn't the only battle that he fought. That wasn't the only battle that he stepped into. That wasn't the only giant that he slayed, but it was the first one that he had to choose. Because then, later on, years later, no one in his family had ever graduated from college, and he said, I want to break the chain. I want to be the first in my family to get a degree. And so when he was 40 years old, he went back to school and he got his bachelor's degree to be the first person in his family to go and get their degree and to pursue higher education. And I could stand on his shoulders and look at a future that's bigger than me, not because of what I did, but because of who he became. Because sometimes you just have to have the courage to go first and realize that there's people that are waiting for you. There's people that are dependent on you. What pathway to someone's future is waiting for you to have the courage right now? See, when this guy stands and he raises his spear was a sign of bravery. It was a sign of courage. It was also a sign of hand-to-hand combat. And the greatest battles that you and I will ever fight will never be the battles out there, the ethereal, like battlefields that are waiting for us. If you want a battle that has your name on it, realize it's probably the field you're standing in right now. And I love that this chief, who was the leader of the 3, was the one who would go first and he would change everything. And then verse 9, it says, next to him was Eleazar, son of Dodai the Ahohite. As one of the 3 mighty warriors, he was with David when they taunted the Philistines, gathered at Pas-dammim for battle. Then the Israelites retreated. But Eleazar stood his ground and struck down the Philistines, check this out, till his hand grew tired and froze to the sword. I love that. I see Denzel. Just hand froze into that sword. Or maybe Michael B., a little younger. And then the Lord brought about a great victory that day. The troops returned to Eleazar, but only to strip the dead. See, we have the chief is the one who goes first, but this next piece is the resilient. Everybody say the resilient. And this is about the one who stays. I think a lot of times when we think of battles, when we think of fights, we're always looking for the next one. We're always looking ahead, knowing that there's something that requires more of us. And don't get me wrong, there are battles in your future that have your name on them. There are fields that you are going to have to step into that are different than your present. But here's what I also know, that some of the most important battles you will ever fight will be the battle to stay rather than to flee. It's the choice to lock in. And even when all the people around you, imagine how Eleazar felt. That he steps into the battle, he steps into the fight, he engages. And the moment that the soldiers that he's been invested in, The people that he's been leading up and raising up, in the moment he needs them the most, it says that they retreat. Have you ever felt abandoned in your worst moment by the people that you love the most? Have you ever just felt so isolated, felt so alone, felt so unseen, and you're like, you don't even realize how much I need you, and you left me? And in those moments, we have one of two choices. We can either become like the ones that left us, or we can choose to stay for those that will need us. Because if you focus on the ones that left, you'll never see the ones that are coming. And I love that there's something about Eleazar. You could feel the weight of his faith. It says that. It said he held onto that sword till his hand grew tired. And it froze to the sword. You could feel his commitment. You could feel his dependency, his resiliency. He was in it for the long run. I'll never forget, my grandma was in hospice care and she was slowly passing away. And I got the call, come home, it's happening. And so I flew home, and for the next 7 days, I just sat in this hospice room with my grandpa and with family members. And I just got to watch my grandfather be by his wife's side for 49 years. They were married for 49 years, 3 months away from celebrating 50 years of marriage. And I got to watch him 24/7, just like as she was taking last breath after last breath after last breath, he would just dip this little sponge in water, and he would wet her lips because she couldn't have any food as she was passing, and to give her a little bit of relief. And when he would wet her lips with the sponge, he would just whisper in her ear and caress her hair. I love you, boo. I'll see you soon, boo. It's been the joy of my life to love you, boo. And I'm in the back crying like Viola Davis. just weeping. Just being overwhelmed, not just in the grief of losing my mom, but being overwhelmed by the power of a love that stays to the end. See, I think so often we get so infatuated with desire, we miss out on love. We think it's about how much love you can give to everyone rather than give your all to one and see how that person flourishes. See, there's something broken in us that we haven't fully discovered the power of a committed act, the power of a committed person who stays to the end when everyone else has left. And I've been at Mosaic for 16 years now. And Mosaic, you are the absolute joy of my life. Like I hope you know that. I love you. You are the most incredible people on the entire planet. And I love that it's unfair that I get to be friends with you. I'm sorry that you're friends with me, but I'm so thankful that I get to be associated with you. The amount of people that have come through these doors that has blessed my life, I can't even begin to describe. I'm forever grateful for you, Mosaic. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever done with my life, but to be honest, it's also the hardest thing I've ever done with my life. Because when you love on people, right, when you open up your life to people, the very people that can love you can also hurt you. Isn't that frustrating? All right, isn't it crazy that we can love someone on a Monday and then betray them on a Tuesday? And if I could just be fully honest for a few minutes, it's really tough when you have people that you love and people you've invested in and people that have come so close, and then you feel in the moment that you disagree with them, they leave you on the battlefield. And you feel abandoned. I'm just being honest for a second. There's been more moments than I can count where I felt abandoned. There's been more moments I can count where I felt so loved and overjoyed and I felt encouraged. So it's not an equitable thing, but it is a real thing. You with me? Yeah. And just recently, it was really hard with somebody that we love desperately and somebody who's been a part of our life since they were a teenager tell us that if it was not for Mosaic, they would have ended their life by now. Say, if it was not for this place, that I know the moments and the times when I was going to end my life, but Mosaic and the community and the love saved me. I can't tell you how difficult it was in the next breath for that person to say, but I'm leaving because you don't agree with me. It just cut me open. It just left me bleeding on the inside out. And I have a choice to make. Do I focus on the one that left, or I focus on the people who need me next? See, what do you do when people hurt you? What do you do when people let you down? Do you become the thing that let you down, or you to become the thing that you wish you had? See, I think it's time for us just to have a spirit of those that choose to stay, those that are in it for the long run. And I'm not just talking about churches. I'm not just talking about teams. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about you and I becoming the people that we simply do our part, and we see that we're a part of a greater story. So what I love about these three dudes, these three brothers, Michael B., Idris, and Denzel, what you see is this. In verse 9, next to him. See, so often in our lives, we think we're in a battlefield by ourselves, but we don't realize just one field away is somebody that's fighting with you. See, when you and I overcome a dragon, when we slay a giant, it may not be with someone holding the sword, but there's somebody that needed that victory. There's a next to him, a next to her, a next to us. But you have to choose first to do your part, to engage in the battle, to do whatever it takes to see a victory. So you do not lose the fight when you're knocked down. You lose the fight when you refuse to get up. I love that Eleazar. It says that his hand grew tired and froze to the sword. They had to come and pry this brother's hand off the sword. Because he said, I'm not letting go till I have victory. I think far too often we hold on to the wrong things. We hold on to bitterness when God's saying, let go and choose freedom. We hold on to anger when he's saying, watch what love can do. We hold on to resentment. We hold on to worry. We hold on to depression. We hold on to anxiety. We hold on to fear. And God's saying, no, you're holding the wrong sword. But when we hold on to joy, we hold on to peace, we hold on to forgiveness. So you want to win the battle of your future? Win the battle of the person that you're refusing to forgive. Because in Matthew chapter 6, it tells us of a really important battle that we ignore sometimes. Verse 14, it says, in prayer, there is a connection between what God does and what you do. You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without also forgiving others. Listen to this. If you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part. When you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part. Here's what I know about the goodness of God. He is always going to do his part. And when God does his part, it's insane how much beauty comes into our lives. But if there's a void in your life, if there's an obstacle in your life, if there's a barrier that you can't seem to overcome, look back at the relationships and ask yourself, who am I refusing to forgive? Because everything is connected. And then next to him, next to Josheb, next to Eleazar, was this guy named Shammah, who was son of Agi the Herite. And when the Philistines banded together at a place where there was a field full of lentils, again, Israel's troops fled from them. But Shammah took his stand in the middle of the field. He defended it, and he struck the Philistines down, and the Lord brought about a great victory. See, there's moments in our lives when we got to be the chief, the one who goes first. Got to be moments in our life when we're the resilient, the one who stays. But I love this last piece. We're talking about Shema. It's the defender. Everybody say the defender. See, the defender is the one who stands up. It's the one who finds their place in the middle of the field. Not at the front of the field, where they can be most vulnerable or they can have that quick attack, but then it'll be over soon. Not at the back of the field, when all hell breaks loose, when you can tap out and retreat and bail. But right in the middle of the field, where you're in it for the long run, when you're in it because something's bigger than you, and when you look around and you see the vulnerability, but you're also able to see the points of attack. See, what place in your life have you been on the fringes when God's saying, I need you to stand in the middle of it? I need you to plant yourself and defend what cannot be defended by its own. I make a really bomb lentil soup. My wife Beck can attest to this. Every time we're going on a health kick, we'll make this lentil soup and we eat it like 4 or 5 days a week. So I love lentils, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't love lentils enough to defend a field of it. Lentils do not matter that much to me. Why did they matter so much to Shema? It didn't even say that he was defending the people who were in the field. It says that he was defending a field of lentils. Because Shema didn't just see a field of lentils, he saw a home. He saw future. He saw territory. He saw ground. And he said, nah, you can come in here and you could try, but I'm not leaving. I'm standing in the middle of this field because this field belongs to me. Because this field belongs to us. Because if you want it, you won't have to come through me to get it. And I wonder how many times in our lives there's been battles that we've refused to engage, and a victory on the other side wasn't because it wasn't possible. It was because we were standing in the back of the field. Rather than standing in the middle and saying, if you're going to come for my children, I'm going to get on my knees, not on my watch. You're going to come for my spouse, I'm going to get on my knees, not on my watch. You're going to come for my church, not on my watch. Watch what I do. We become the defenders to defend those that do not have the strength to fight on their own. Years ago, I surprised Beck with this dream trip to Paris. And we have been so excited to go for the first time, and we mapped it out, and we were so excited to see the city of love. And I had all my friends who had been to Paris before and kind of given me tidbits and things, do's and don'ts. And one of the things they said is hey, just do not take the train to wherever you're staying. Just get an Uber from the airport. And I was like, you know what? I want to be a Parisian. I want to feel like a local. I got this. LA got a subway system. How hard could it be? Yeah. It was kind of hard. But we go on this train, and then we get into the subway, and then we're trying to read the signs to figure out which one will take us to our arrondissement, to where we were staying. And we get all the transfers, and we get on this last train that's going to take us to our spot. And we walk on, we've got our luggage, and there's one seat that's open. So Beck goes, and she sits down, and she takes the luggage. And as she goes, she bumps this woman who's sitting there. And then this woman just starts screaming at her in French. And I don't speak French, but I do speak frequency. And she was not encouraging Beck with her words. And she's going crazy. And Beck's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. American, I'm sorry. All right? And then I said, babe, it's okay, just sit there, and I'm going to stand. There's no seat. And then as I'm standing, I'm holding this pole. It's a jam-packed train. All of a sudden, these 4 guys come up, and they surround me in the middle of this train. I was like, okay, it's kind of weird. A lot of spots around me, and I get a little nervous. Like, oh, it seems a little intentional. And I was like, okay, this is my moment, you know. I've watched every Liam Neeson movie, like, get out, you know. So I go to try to get out, and they, like, make the circle tighter. I was like, oh, snap, that's not good. So I try to go to the other side, and they make the circle tighter. And I was like, excuse me, let me get by my wife, and excusez-moi, and we're trying to speak French, and they won't even look at me. They will not make eye contact, and they start whispering to each other. I'm like, oh, snap. And I remembered my friend who's Parisian, she said, hey, be careful on the train, because there's mobs that will come up and they'll surround somebody to rob them and to beat them up. I was like, dang, that's why I should have took the train. My bad. I was like, every time I tried to get out, they wouldn't let me out, and they wouldn't make eye contact with me. And I was like, here we go. This brother ain't never been in a fight in his entire life. And I'm going to get in my first fight in Paris? All right, so just stood on this train, and I said, they don't know I've never been in a fight. So just look intimidating. So I let go of the suitcase, and I took my stance, loaded up, and I balled my fist. And I just said, as soon as this train stops, I'm not gonna take the first shot, but the moment they swing first, it's on. I was like, WWJD. What would Jackie Chan do? And I just balled up my fist. And I was like, all right, here we go. And train stopped. I leaned back. Boom. Train doors open. Guys got off. That's right, because I scared the mess out of them. They looked at this dude and said, nope, next train. I am 100% convinced I was the mark. I was the target. This paisley 5'9" American who brought his luggage on this train. This is our guy. And I don't know why. I don't know how. They made a decision. I'm gonna try someone else. Because sometimes you don't have to speak the language to speak the essence. See, sometimes I think you just have to decide in your spirit, I'm gonna defend this no matter what. I'm gonna defend the people who matter most to me. And when other people talk mess about them, I say, nah, not on my watch. See, when my kids come and they have these voices that tell them they're less, I stand in that field and say, nah, not on my watch. See, when people come and try to steal your future, when that choice that could affect your family and all the families to come, that's when you and I need to plant our feet in the ground and say, not on my watch, because I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to give everything that I have. See, this year, I know that there are fields in your future. I know that there are battles that are waiting for you. I know that there are things that you could break that could never be broken in your history. I know that it's waiting for you and it's waiting for me. But you have to choose to fight. What is the battle that has your name on it? What is the choice that you need to make that you decide begins here? Begins here. Begins here. I love that with these 3 warriors, these 3 legends, what would happen after they did their part is this powerful reminder to us. Because after Shammah took his stand in the middle of the field and struck the Philistines down, what happened next? The Lord brought about a great victory. See, there's a battle that you need to fight that only has your name on it. There's choices that you and I need to make that if we don't have the courage, we will not create the life we long for. But when you and I do our part, when we step into the battle, when we engage with every ounce of ourselves, it's in that next breath when God says, now watch what I do next. What victory does the Lord want to bring about in your life that will not happen until you have the courage to step into the field? And maybe for you, the first choice that you need to make today, I know that there's so many of you in this room that before you can fight the battle for your future, you need to let God win the battle for your heart. And you need to let Jesus do his part, where he just wraps you in his love, where he reminds you of there's nothing that matters more to him than you, where he just looks you and I in the face and makes eye contact. And he says, the reason I'm asking you to do your part is because I already did my part. And now all you have to do is receive the gift that's waiting for you. I want all of us to bow our heads and close our eyes. If you're here and you're a fighter, you know that there's giants that have your name on them. You know that there's dragons that they're going to have to slay. You know that there's a fight that you're going to have to engage in, and you cannot be passive, but you have to step into it. But you've been trying to fight this one battle, and no matter how many times you grab the sword, you never claim victory. It's because this is a battle that the only way you win is when you submit. This is a battle that the only way there's victory is when there's surrender. This is a battle when you just allow Jesus in his perfect, infinite love to just tell you that he loves you enough to go to the cross for you, that he loves you enough to sacrifice his life for you, that he loves you enough to allow himself to be brutally beaten and murdered because he knew that this moment would be for you, when you could know that he would risk it all on your behalf. If you're here and you're ready to fully surrender, you're fully ready to let Jesus do his part and just wrap you in his love, then what I want you to do is just say this simple prayer right now. Just tell him, Jesus, I give you my life. Right now. I love it. I can already hear the whispers. Tell him right now, Jesus, I give you my life. If you're ready for a future that's greater than your past, if you're ready for the courage to fight the battles that are coming your way, and to be the one who goes first, and to be the trailblazer, and to be the one who takes risk and is a person of initiative, the one who creates a better tomorrow than a today, then you just tell him right now, Jesus, I want to do it with you. Jesus, I give you my life. Okay, if that was you, and you chose to follow Jesus today for the first time, you chose to just make the huge risk of saying, I'm all in, and I'm going to surrender completely to you as quickly as you can right now. I want you to raise your hand just to let me know. Yep, that was me, so I can pray for you. Beautiful. Keep it up high. Don't worry about anyone else looking. This is between you and Jesus. I see you. Come on, bro. I see you. Anyone else? Beautiful. Come on. Hands everywhere. Come on. Another one. Who else? Who's holding on to the past? Got you. I see you. Come on. Step into a new future. Got you. Come on. Do your part. Say, Jesus, I'm all yours. Jesus, I'm done living without you. Jesus, I'm done holding on to the things that are keeping me in bondage. Anyone else? Jesus, I give you my life. Beautiful. Come on, I see you. Father, I pray for every single person who said yes to you today. I pray you would just overwhelm them with your peace, with your joy. I pray that in the same way that these warriors stepped into battle, that they would step into the battle of their mind, the battle of their heart, the battle of their future, that the choices that they have made today would create a new legacy for people to come, for generations. I see you. Come on, another hand. And we thank you, Jesus, that it's never too late. We thank you, Jesus, that you are always wooing us with your love. And Jesus, We're in awe of who you are. We love you so much. And when we move this part, another hand, I see you, bro, beautiful. When we leave this moment, when we create the marker in our soul, I pray that we would never be the same, Jesus. I pray that all of us in this room would make 2024 the year of new battlefields, the year of new dragons that need to be slayed, the year of new giants that are waiting to be conquered, and that we would become the people that defend, the people who rise up, the people who go first, that we would become your hands and feet for a world who needs you the most. We love you, Jesus. We thank you. And we ask all this in your name. Amen and amen. Love you, Mosaic.
So beautiful. If I can get your attention for 5 more minutes before we go, just out of respect to the people who made a life-changing decision to invite Jesus into your life. We have a team in the back that they count hands because we care about every single human who makes a decision to invite Jesus into their life. 33 people right now just make a life-altering decision. Come on. It's so beautiful. I want to invite our team to come forward. Two specific action steps that I want to give you today. If you're one of those people that you invited Jesus into your life, after we're done here, I want to invite you to go outside. We have a team waiting for you. We want to give you a gift of a Bible. You got to do something. You got to act. You got to text your mom. Let someone know that you did this decision this morning. But also, we just started a new program called Roots. And Roots is the basic of how to follow Jesus. It's a 4-week program. You already missed the first one. It was last Wednesday. But you still have time to join our team and be part of this conversation about how to go deeper in your relationship with Jesus. You need people to be able to do this. And we want to provide that for you, okay? And then the other step, everything that we do here as a church, it happened because people give on your behalf. I love that Pastor Joe said that the first thing that needs to happen is that you need to win inside of your heart. The part that you can control is only here. It first starts here. I cannot control what you're going to do. I can control what I'm going to do, my battle against greed. I can control my desire of holding what God has given me. And I want to choose to do my part and be a generous person. And I want to invite you to do the same thing with me. We have an incredible people who already give on your behalf so that you can come here on Sunday and enjoy this experience. But we can't do it alone. We want to do it with you. So be part of the people that give here at Mosaic. Can I ask you to do one thing? Can you grab, can someone pass me the envelope, please? Can you guys grab the envelope? Got it? Thank you. It's not a trick question. Like, actually grab the envelope really quick. Everybody. Yes. Yes. I see you, Joy. So the reason why we do this is because we want everyone to participate in this moment of generosity. You can give cash, you can give check, but also you can give online. We can pass the buckets now, please. When you go outside, you can also give in the boxes that we have over there, but you can also give online. That's why we have a QR code. You can go to mosaic.org/give. The envelope to put checks or cash, and you can put it in the buckets as they pass. This is a very spiritual moment, guys. I know that God is having conversations with some of you right now about this area, and we don't want to rush from this moment. All right, would you guys all stand up? And I want to finish by praying for you. God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for this incredible message that Pastor Joe have brought. God, we want to do our part. There's so much that we cannot control this week. But God, we choose to be people who are generous. We choose to be people who are loving. We choose to be people who forgive, who are kind. God, I pray for every person in this room. I pray that they will have an incredible week. Show up to them as they decide to show up in the things that you're calling them to be part of. Jesus, thank you for Mosaic. Thank you for this space. We love you, Jesus, and in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. We love you guys, and we see you next week.